Hi, Violetta. Welcome back to the Sacred Remembering podcast.
Hi, Sarah. I'm so delighted to be back.
We are both giddy. I think we're both giddy.
We are.
Yes. I love talking with you. And I made myself a cup of coffee. It's 10 a.m. here, but you're always posting on Instagram your delicious cups of coffee from all of these wonderful places in the world that I've never been. And I was like, I just want to have a coffee date with you. So I
Right.
made my coffee.
Enjoy. Let's imagine that we are having a virtual coffee, that we finally have a chance to meet face to face. I don't know if this will ever happen in our lifetime, but we don't have to because I feel so connected to you as we sit here. It's like as if there is a space beyond space and time on the inner planes where we are just casually chatting, having this conversation.
Isn't it so awesome that, at this time on the planet with all of this awakening, we also have all of this technology to connect us all. So I'm so excited. But let me welcome you by reading your bio for everyone. I apologize. I don't know the episode that you were on before, but you are a returning guest. You're one of a few returning guests. And yes, today we're going to spin some sacred conversation. So Violetta Pleshakova is a spiritual mentor, transformational trainer, and leadership development expert with a PhD in cultural studies and over 10 years of experience in facilitating transformation. She runs a mystery school called Temple of Starfire that offers a modern take on ancient alchemical teachings, with a goal to help you live your truth and lead with your magic. Violetta is also the co-founder of the Firepower Group, a leadership development company that trains purpose-driven entrepreneurs and paradigm shifters. Holding the frequencies of depth, mystery, magic, and beauty in her approach, Violetta blends together ontological coaching, energy healing, Akashic Records channeling, human design, Magdalene lineage transmission, and frequency work. As a true citizen of the world, she divides her time between Berlin, Johannesburg, Moscow, and southern France. And you can find her at templeofstarfire.com and Instagram Temple of Starfire as well. Welcome back.
Thank you for inviting me back. It was episode 33. I looked it up. That was my first interview with you.
Of course, 33.
Of course.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you've had quite a year, and I actually invited you back last season, and then your father passed, and
yes.
And that was about 5 months ago, correct?
Yes, that was in August 2021. He passed on August 9th. It's been 5 months now. And I have been through things. Let's say it was like a mini dark night of the soul after his passing. And I feel I have really faced the void.
Yes. Well, my heart goes out to you and has been going out to you as you've been sharing your story of your father's passing and how it's affected you. And if I may, I know that I'm speaking to something so very big here, so forgive me if my words are small. But it was just so wonderful to see the love expressed, that you and your father had together in this life. And it's not always that we experience that kind of love with our fathers. So just honoring him and honoring his love for you. And it was quite the initiation, I understand. And you'd like to share a little bit about that with us today?
Yes, I have to say, I feel very blessed that I could experience such a bond with a father, because unfortunately, many women and men go through the opposite. The father wound is real. And I feel it's part of my story and of my journey to transmit the possibility of a father-daughter bond that transcends ancestral karma, that transcends the wounded masculine. See, he was not a perfect man, not a perfect person by any means, but as a father, to me, he was beyond reproach. And he was a soul friend. And although losing him in human form has been tremendously difficult. It was a remapping of my world. And this grief is with me. It's now part of who I am. It has not lessened in any way. But I feel my relationship with him has just shape-shifted. Although there is a lot of pain, there is a lot of sadness, there is a lot of simply missing him, wanting to have a chat with him and not being able to. And also knowing that he died rather young. He was just 59 years old. He died of lung cancer. And it feels in a way so sad that he is not around for longer. But anyway, this relationship, it just shape-shifted. He is now a spirit guide. I see him in my dreams every week. I feel that he's behind me. I feel as if he is supporting me. And this opens me up to a different level of connection with the divine masculine, because it's almost like he has, because in the last months, like last 3 months of his life, he has been on a deep spiritual journey of his own. He came to realize his life purpose. He came to realize how he basically scattered his lifetime pursuing business goals, pursuing materialistic goals, and just not doing soul work, because in his essence, he is a philosopher, he's a teacher. And then he was praying to God during his last months. So please, God, if I recover, I vow to be a teacher of transformation. So he wanted to become a spiritual mentor. And so to me being a spiritual mentor, and also knowing that he has always supported my work, he was the one who bought me my first tarot cards deck when I was 18.
Really? That's special.
On the cross. He gifted me coach trainings. He was the one who supported me a lot on this journey. And now I know that whatever he could not do, because his body was just beyond repair, and it was just easy for him to leave, I know that he gave me an impulse. And he, with his support, now on the other side, he continues to support me. And I know that there are some teachings that are coming through for me now that are from his soul. And it is my job now to live his legacy. And in a way, his passing, the human aspect of this pain, it confronted me with deeper questions about, but what is my mission on an even deeper level? How do I want to live? If I have no time to waste, if I lost everything, what would I do then? And it gave me, let's say, a new level of depth. I've always called myself a depth dweller, it has always been a part of me. But this initiation, I feel, has been pre-contracted between me and him, that even in his passing, he's given me a gift. He has given me a gift of recommitting to my mission. And he has given me a gift of going through the void, because I feel for the first 2 months, I was really not in this life. I had to deal with some admin stuff, inheritance, taking care of his house in France, and all the logistics of this that nobody actually talks about, how brutal it is to go through a dead person's stuff and give away their clothes, how brutal it is to come into a space that they left thinking they were going to come back and find stuff, like, I don't know, his notebook or his scarf, stuff that he just left lying around, and just having to go through this and to face this and to just handle it. It's just so hard. But besides that, I felt like I was somewhere on the inner planes, and I felt so disconnected from reality, even disconnected from my work, which has always been my guiding light. And I also thought, he tried all kinds of alternative healing. He was doing all kinds of work. He tried all alternative modalities, traditional modalities, everything, spiritual modalities. He, in a way, had a whole, process of atonement, trying to get healed, and nothing has worked. And for a while, it made me question spirituality. It made me question everything that I do. It made me question energy work. I thought, if the best man I know did all that and it hasn't worked, is there any point, any validity to all of this?
Are you saying it didn't work, excuse me, to heal him when he was sick? Okay.
Yeah. And so I think it is important to have doubts. It's very important to go through this level of questioning as part of our dark night of the soul. And the analogy that I have here is, from it's like a temptation, it's like, am I going to abandon my faith on the basis of what's going on in my external reality? Am I going to question the tenets of my philosophy? Am I going to question my direct gnosis on the basis of some of my prayers not getting answered? This was a very humbling experience because it made me realize that although alternative healing modalities did not work for him, although his atonement did not bring him salvation and God did not miraculously just save him, although all of that happened, it does not negate the power of spirituality. It does not negate the power of healing, the power of frequency work. It simply means to me that there are some bigger forces at play, that life is mysterious. And this is what to me is at the core of my philosophy, is we are not just creating our reality, we are co-creating our reality. Yes, there is manifesting, yes, there is action taking, yes, there is perseverance, yes, there are all those healing tools and taking action and all of that, but then there is also the great mystery. And through witnessing him in his sincerity, in his devotion, but still him exiting this body and this life, I had to accept the great mystery on a new level. It means we have to, yes, sometimes there are things that we have no control over. And only now, looking back, I understand that it was pre-designed that way. It was his choice for his soul to have this lifetime, X amount of years, and that he chose to leave at this point because the earthly mission for him was complete. So he did not abandon me and he did not fail. Spiritual tools did not fail him. Healing did not fail him. No, it was not what he needed. So because then later on I connected with his soul. I have a wonderful intuitive channel who I go to, and she helped me connect with him and just have a conversation. And then later on in my own processing, I realized that, okay, it was just easy for him to end his earthly life and to continue on the other side, because now he can support me from the other side. We can still have a relationship, but it's very different. But to me, facing that void of, okay, what if I would allow myself to just burn everything down? What if I am to step away from spiritual mentoring, from intuitive work, from all of that? Who would I be then if I do not attach my identity to my work? If I do not attach my sense of self to my spiritual beliefs? That stripping down, that unveiling, undoing, complete reckoning and revelation and whatever, that was so needed, because it was like a reboot, like a system reboot. So I allowed myself to dwell in the unknown for about a month, where the only red thread, the guiding light, was just one prayer that I was living every morning and every night and during the day. I was just putting my hands on my heart and connecting to God, Goddess, Source, and just saying, please show me who I really am and what I really want. Just show me. Show me who I really am. And I was also saying, take away what is not true. Take it away. If it's not what my soul wants for me, I do not want it. That was my prayer. If my idea of who I am is not what my soul wants for me next, take it away. If this business is not what my soul wants for me next, if I'm complete with it, take it away, burn it down. If this friendship, this relationship, this and that is not aligned with what my soul wants for me next, what God wants for me next, take it away. And that was so liberating, to not have plans, to not have goals, to not have visions, to not have dreams, to not have any idea what am I doing with my life, just to allow all of it to dissolve and get rearranged. So I just allowed for all of it to just dissolve and get rearranged. I was in that prayer every day for like a month or even longer. And then I was in southern France taking care of an apartment that he had there. And it's 1 hour drive from the sacred sites of Mary Magdalene at St. Baume, the cave where she spent the last years of her life, and a church with her relics on display. And so a friend of mine came to visit, and we drove to the basilica and we went on a mini pilgrimage through the woods to the cave. And there I was at Magdalene's cave, and it was in October, mid-October, and it was, let's say, the deepest point in that void, dark night of the soul experience, where I was completely undone. I was really undone. That's why my friend came to visit. She was like, okay, I feel the calling. And my friend, she is a Magdalene soul as well. She is she's a soul friend, a soul sister, and she kind of felt the calling, like she realized that I need someone. And so I'm so grateful that she came. Thank you. And she was there, and we went, and I stepped into the forest, last in the bomb, with a prayer to understand who am I really and what am I to do next.
Mm.
And so that was the pilgrimage. And of course, as I approached, I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
And there I was standing in front of Magdalene's altar at the cave. And as I was standing there, I'm just connecting with it now.
Mm-hmm.
There were candles burning, and I was there alone, although there were many people, but I had a private moment.
Mm.
So there I was, and I was just laying it all on the altar to be altered. I just let it all be transmuted by the divine. I was like, I do not know who I am. I do not need to know who I am. Fill me up, guide me, take me where I need to go. I just let it all go. And there, I kid you not, I had a feeling in my heart as if a puzzle piece came back, a piece that was missing, maybe an aspect of my soul, maybe it was like a soul retrieval experience. Something came and entered my heart chakra and clicked into place. It was a click. And there was a sense of also anchoring down into the grid, into the ley lines of Magdalene, into the space, into the golden grid of the earth as well. And I mean, it was not the first time I connected with Magdalene. Magdalene has been a huge part of my journey for several years. And I even taught a class about her, a workshop series, like things like that. So it's not new to me, you know, but it was like, it was an upgrade. It was like, okay. And I heard from Magdalene guidance, all right, it's time for you to find your home again. It's time for you to come back home to your divine feminine lineage. It's time for you to reclaim your role as a purveyor of the mystical, as a mystery school teacher. And she said, you need to start training people again. You need to start training people in mystery school work, in the divine feminine alchemical tradition. You need to start doing that again. Because I got distracted, you know, I was focusing on other things because I'm so multi-passionate. I'm this and that, and there's so many subjects that I want to cover in my work.
Me too. Yeah, I'm so glad we're having this conversation on so many levels. But yeah, I'm relating to a lot of what you're saying. So please keep going. But
and so anyway,
yes.
something clicked into place, and it was like a homecoming. It was a feeling of homecoming to Magdalene, homecoming to my lineage, homecoming to that soul frequency transmission. And so that happened. My friend left. I spent a couple of weeks just integrating and being and so on. And then one morning, I wake up and I realize, oh, okay, I have to teach a series of workshops about Magdalene. So I created this program and I taught it, I delivered it. A beautiful group of people showed up. You know, it amazes me how people always show up for my soul offerings that come from guidance, not from offerings that come from strategy or that come from, oh, okay, what makes sense for my business? What are people asking for? It rather is like, I call it by divine dispensation. The offering came by divine dispensation. It was like, okay, Magdalene wants me to teach about this, and this is needed for divine feminine lineage. X amount of people will come into the space. It will plug them back in to their lineage. It will activate them and help them come back home to their heart. So that I taught this series of workshops, which was healing for them and healing for me too. And what came through is teaching on resurrection codes. It's let's say a mystery school teaching on the rites of the sepulcher that were taught in ancient Egypt, and the idea behind that Yeshua did not resurrect on his own. Magdalene helped him resurrect, that it was all arranged in a similar way, like, you know, like you had this wonderful podcast interview about the miraculous conception. I think another piece of this puzzle is resurrection. It's when
oh my gosh, I was getting a download about resurrection yesterday. So yes.
Oh wow, how fascinating. I think resurrection teachings are coming back. So I taught a class on those resurrection codes, which was so potent. And now I know that for Easter, this coming spring for Easter, I'm going to teach it as a separate class.
Oh my gosh.
Space.
I love it. I want to insert this little fun story that a few years ago, I was going through a dark night of the soul in 2019, the spring of 2019. And I went on this pilgrimage where my soul told me to go to this piece of land in Pennsylvania, which is like 10 hours from the state of North Carolina where I live. And I had the ceremony on this piece of land, and it was very important. And I came back 2 days before Easter. And on Easter, two friends of mine, two women, were holding a ceremony, two women who are in a sacred union couple, so feminine and masculine represented, of course. And we were going into ceremony on Easter for the resurrection of the sacred feminine. And I don't think that they were saying the word resurrection, but they had a deck of Mother Mary cards all around the altar on the floor. And there were probably 20 of us, and I just let everyone else go. And I knew exactly, where to go for my card. It was just like beelined to one card, and I pulled the resurrection card, and I was like, you can't make this shit up. Like, I was going through the dark night of the soul, and then that began the resurrection. But the kind of download or ping that I was getting just yesterday, and I was pretty deep in meditation, so it's not very clear to me now what it was, but it was like, this is where your resurrection actually, like, now I am resurrected, right? So 2019, I pulled this card that's like, and now you're on the up and up, right? And like, what is it? January of 2022, and it's like, and now you're embodying it. Welcome, So anyway, yes to resurrection, such a powerful codex.
And now when I think of it, what I think is those of us who are here to be, let's say, soul-guided leaders, and who are here to impact others through emanation, through transmission of our soul essence codes, very often we are taken to very dark places. And we have to go there. We have to have an experience of being in a coffin, metaphorically, as if we are in a coffin, as if we're buried alive. Be that buried alive in a job, buried alive in a life situation, in a dead-end relationship. We have to have that experience of being contained in a space with no access to any light, so that we can learn how to find that light. We have to learn how to switch that light switch on, and it's done on the level of genetic reactivation of our DNA, of the light codes within our DNA. Because to me, this is leadership. To me, leadership is all about how much light you are able to incarnate, hold, and transmit. So how much light are you able and willing to carry and share with the world? This is all about how close you are with your own soul. So leadership, in a way, has nothing to do with metrics. Because in the modern day and age, with the social media and so on, like, there are so many superficial vanity metrics, like a leader is somebody who is making 6 or 7 figures, who has 10K followers on Instagram and so on. And the thing is, I think this has taken us away from what truly matters, because there are also leaders without a title. There are leaders who will never have a public platform, but they are leaders nonetheless, simply because they transmit light codes. I'll give you an example. When my friend and I were on our little Magdalene pilgrimage, we at the town of Saint-Maximin de la Sainte-Baume, where the Basilica with her relics is, in town, we were looking for a place to have lunch. And we came across this tiny, completely inconspicuous restaurant. And the owner of the restaurant, his wife, are running it. And the guy, I'm sure he has Magdalene lineage codes. He is not a leader, he is not like the owner of a Michelin star restaurant in Paris. He just owns a little inconspicuous restaurant in Saint-Maximin de la Sainte-Baume. But the food he delivers and the energy with which he was delivering it, how he made us feel, that to me was light codes embodiment. And he gave us a gift. He saw that I was sad about my dad, so I told him. He asked us about who are you, and he spotted us right away. He knew why we are here. Like, he knows.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came back and he
Harold
was,
the Magdalene coming home.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he
Yeah.
and he was carrying a huge chunk of just stone. And he said that a friend of his was restoring the basilica, and this stone was part of the gargoyle station. And they were replacing the gargoyle or restoring it, and he gave him this piece. And you know what he did? He chopped off a tiny piece and gave us each a tiny piece of the Basilica of Magdalene.
Wow. Whew.
And,
Yeah.
and and that was like amazing, you know. He is not writing Magdalene books, standing there on a pedestal delivering trainings.
Right.
He just gives women who are of Magdalene lineage, who need encouragement, who need something tangible to bring home. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't give it to everybody who comes into his restaurant. Otherwise, there'd be
Mm-hmm.
nothing left of his stone chunk. But he gave it to
Mm-hmm.
us because he saw that we were there for a reason and that we needed it, and that we would be, you know, really elevated by this little gift of having tangible presence
Wow.
of Magdalene in our life. So that to me is leadership. And there are so many of us placed strategically around the world, connected through the grids and through the ley lines as grid keepers, earth angels, inner realm leaders who are doing work in dream space and so on, where it takes us to our personal resurrection and to our personal reconnection with the light within us and with soul lineage. And this is subtle work. This is inner work. This is not something that you can learn in any traditional way. That's why I'm so passionate about mystery school revival,
Mm-hmm.
because it's about
Mm-hmm.
that. It's
Mm.
about, let's say, soul frequency embodiment work, frequency work, subtle light body calibration that is done through remembrance, through sacred remembrance,
Yes.
not through techniques that are readily available, because it is something rather that comes through spontaneously through channeling in shamanic journeys. It's not like a modality or methodology that I can just spell out and say, okay, do this. It's more like it's
Right.
between the lines.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm so glad that you're doing that mystery school work. I got that calling to at some point in the last year, and I have this whole background, as you know, in education. And so slowly I've been restructuring things to be more in the formula of school and mystery school.
Mhm.
But thank you for bringing back that word. There's something pinging, Violetta, and I'm going to ask us both to attune to it. There's something pinging about what you were saying. You're saying so much. There's so much here. You're saying about the surrender and remembering yourself, coming home to self. And as you come home to self, there is this embodiment of light, of soul codes. And we have to get to that point where I do agree, like nothing else is propping us up, and we're facing whatever the fuck we have to face, so that we are saying, show me the way. Like, surrendering and saying that. But there's something that is present for me that I wonder if it connects with your father's passing as well. This masculine, I want to talk about the masculine in that,
Mm.
the masculine in women, um, because what was always preventing me, and when I say this, it could sound superficial, but I'm asking people to
Mhm.
go deep to, to the subconscious, to the encodement that we've inherited from
Mhm.
patriarchy and all of the, misconceptions associated with patriarchy, all of the programming meant to kind of keep us small, right? So for me, what prevented me from fully stepping in was actually a collapsed, like, masculine template, which was perpetuated by my father, this like rescue pattern that he had perpetuated, in this, like, narcissistic, sort of abusive hook, right? That hooked my feminine into, you're going to need this kind of pattern in your life. And so I have spent years healing the relationship with the masculine, but it was like this false hook or dependency, like a false dependency on a masculine that could not hold me. Like there was a surrender to letting go of all notions of that template. I don't know. What are you hearing in what I'm saying? Because you're like, let's weave this a little bit.
What I'm hearing immediately is the idea of sovereignty.
Yes, it was preventing me from embodying my own light. Like as the remnants of that program, you know, faded and washed from my life, and the light became more and more and more the truth in my life, that needed to happen. And I think that this is part of what you and I were like, we're gonna channel something on this podcast. I think this is part of it because, you know, that episode about miraculous conception was so big, and all of these women are reaching out to me going, oh my gosh, that was a missing piece that like I didn't have. And since then, I also am really witnessing this like washing clean of this false masculine template, almost like in the crystalline waters, like in the you know, beautiful feminine waters. You know, it's like washing out of women's lives, my own included, and that is providing this space for the light. So I know that you wanted to talk about masculine distortion as well, but yeah, I may have taken us off track or opened something up.
On track. Okay. I'm going to give you a visual. Like I have spatial synesthesia, so I see things in the space. And I think something important, like, so the important bit that is coming through that I'm hearing now, that I am being taught and told right now, is that you do not need to wait to get fully healed for you to embody your light.
Yes.
So yes, we all come with encodings and templates and so on. A lot of people present, that's what I see in my sessions, a lot of people present with cloaks and invisibility cloaks because they felt unsafe in their magic in their past life. So if you have any kind of connection of pain and purpose being intertwined, where you were in your highest purpose came also your highest pain, or where you were ridiculed from expressing your light, for people it can be impossible to reconcile the notion that being in their light can be safe, that being in their light can actually be that which makes them money. And they go like, but how can I make money from my magic? Or how can I emanate my light in my relationship if all I have ever known in my past lives and in this current life is that being in my light gets me shamed, ridiculed, persecuted, ostracized? Yeah, but it can like we can create this idea, you know, that we need to do the work of this and this and this, get healed. There comes spiritual perfectionism of going on healing loops upon healing loops upon healing loops, thinking, oh, when I'm healed or when I quit my corporate job, then I will embody my light. And I think this is how people get stuck, because the essence is, what is very important to realize is we embody our light in the now. It's not quantifiable. Yes, of course, as we release our wounding and patterning and rewire our blueprints to bring, let's say, our human expression and our soul level essence into complete congruency, yes, we can say that then more of our light is emanating. But I think do not wait to embody your light. What would it feel like and be like to be in your light? And often that is simply about becoming more receptive, becoming more porous in your field, dropping the veils and the cloaks, dropping the vows and protection mechanisms. A lot of people have blocks and even seals. I see that a lot recently in sessions, different seals, where people have accepted those seals on their chakras or somewhere in the energetical body, so that their seals would hold the light within And that means they're also not receptive, so nothing can come in. Opportunities cannot come in, serendipities cannot come in, aligned clients or aligned relationships cannot come in. So the field is not porous, the field is very dense. So the starting point to me is to start loosening the grip, to start loosening the grip on our identities, to start loosening the grip on what we think is safe or not safe, so that we can give more and receive more. There is a bit more of an energetical exchange with the environment, being more open, because that is like when we are loosening the grip, things can be fluid, things will get rearranged, and then our timeline will get upgraded automatically. There is no need to look for a shortcut. There is no need for spiritual bypassing. There is no need for even manifesting through distorted templates of imposing your version of reality on reality, which constructs artificial timelines. It literally constructs artificial realities where people live from borrowed energy, which in a way, let me use this big word, it's kind of demonic and black magic, you know, when people borrow energy from the future, they borrow energy from their mentors who are teaching them manifestation, and they construct those artificial timelines and artificial realities. It's almost like an economy within an economy, when people are just paying it themselves for this whole pyramid scheme, which is now starting to kind of disintegrate and fall away because people know that this is not working anymore. But still, there are some remnants of that. So what I'm saying is, by coming into more, let's say, natural and organic light embodiment, where you're just simply allowing it to come through, it's like you don't need to go into a temple or a sacred chamber to do that. You can bring that light as your frequency emanation to the relationship that you already have, to the workplace that you already have, as simply being a person who is more true, more connected, more in their light, and who actually believes that it is possible to live a life in accordance with their light. It starts with us backing ourselves first, because nobody will come and validate our magic. You need to validate yourself. Nobody will come and hand you the honor badge of, yes, you are a leader now. Because if you are hooked on that, you will be waiting for a very long time. Then again, you will be in the game of success metrics and in the game of jobs, titles, attachments, identities, and so on. And then, you know, life shows that it can all be taken away. But it's rather about, it's like, nobody's going to validate you. You don't need validation. You can step up and be that. And to me, it's almost like, okay, let me incarnate a bit more of my light, a bit more. It doesn't need to be a shock to the system, because if your soul were to come through immediately in its totality, the human system could collapse because it couldn't hold that.
You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't be able to hold it. So it's just about opening up, like making your field more receptive, more porous to possibilities. I see it as if like a peacock is opening the tail, or like the angel wings are getting spread, where your heart chakra is opening a bit more, and you're just walking into the world being more receptive and willing to relate. And this is again when the masculine comes in, because not only are you like wide open, but there is also something strong that has your back. That's the safety piece. The receptivity and openness piece needs to dance with the safety piece and the stability piece and the self-holding piece. That then into a sovereignty. Sovereignty is being soft and strong at the same time. So that is like my random download, like blah, blah.
I love it. We're so on the same page. I was just writing this morning, I was starting a blog post about releasing density and bringing in more light. I mean, same page exactly. And yeah, so I've noticed on my path, because I incarnated into a family contract, into a soul contract that like I took on an immense amount of density, an immense amount of like, you know, childhood trauma and things like that to then transmute. I'm still trying to like, or not trying, I'm intending to figure out like how to, you know, utilize that and do so in my leadership, right? Because there has been so much that has been transmuted. But to me, it has been proportionate, I think, with like the, you know, if the amount of trauma in the system or falsehood in the system or false beliefs or, you know, all of those deception strategies that exist in the world, if that's taking up our space, then we can't shine our light. And so I think that there's this, it seems to me that there's this proportionality where it's like, shed the density, own the light, shed the density, own the light, shed the density. And it continues like that. And so in my experience, I've been embodying the leadership that I was able to embody with the level of consciousness that I had at the time, right, along the path. And you just did a podcast episode on leadership that I really enjoyed. Yeah, I recommend that everyone listen to all of your podcasts because I love your downloads. But yeah, I really enjoy what you're saying about personal leadership. And I just love how you debunk, spiritual teachings in general.
It's a hobby of mine.
I love it. I was taking a walk yesterday listening to the leadership podcast, and you were debunking, waiting for a sign, and you were saying, like, what are you waiting for, a feather? Like a feather from your angels? And I'm just laughing out loud on the street as I'm listening to it. So yeah, that to say that I am really resonating with what you're saying about leadership lately and personal leadership, and that no one is going to appoint you as a leader. And you and I both have professional career history in more hierarchical leadership where we got a title. And so now we're creating a new way of being where we're owning leadership. And also, I mean, going back to where you started with being so humbled, being taken so far into your depths, being willing to let it all go, and then letting the truth come from that, and the truth being your leadership. And that, those are the people I want to trust. Right? Show me the people that know themselves so well and stand unfalteringly in that. And those are the people that I want to hang with, and that's when I trust myself too. Honestly, I've been doing a lot of this in the last year myself. And who do I want to be? Why do I want people engaging with me? Is it for the followers? That word in and of itself is a whole other thing.
Yeah,
but
it's a problematic word.
It's so problematic. It's no, I want to do this authentic thing of sacred remembrance and sovereignty, and inspire and motivate people with that. And so coming into a space of self-trust, when you've been taken down by life and you've been on your knees and you've been surrendering, and then from there you're saying, show me the way. Who am I? What would you have me do? It's a self-trust that then propels that personal leadership. So I'd like to hear you speak a little bit more to leaders and many people, I think many women right now, I'm seeing an uptick in my business practice of women coming to me because they've made a pivot, and they're saying, okay, I'm going to follow my soul now. I'm going to start this thing of heart and soul. So many people awakening, embodying their mission. How do they stay on track and not get distracted by the...
Oh, this is an excellent question, because I, for one, have been distracted so often.
Right, me too. I get it. Just
I get distracted all the time. And I mean, our culture is in a way structured around the idea of distraction. So one thing that I want to say is there is grace in imperfection.
Yeah.
So how I see it is, if I were to give one piece of advice to leaders who are stepping into their soul truth and into their highest timeline, their highest destiny, is to allow it to be messy.
Yeah.
To allow it to be messy. Remove the energy of pressure. Yes, it's powerful to have a vision, but is your vision inspiring you, Or is that vision creating unnecessary pressure in terms of, okay, this is my money goal for the year, I need to make that, or my business needs to have this and this and this in place in this and this and this amount of time. That pressure of, very often, like, this is one of my favorite pet peeves, is the manifestation debunk around the idea of get clear on what you want and go for it. Maybe that works for some people. For example, in human design, I'm a quadrite, so I'm completely unspecific, unstrategic. Like, I couldn't be strategic to save my life, okay? Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, I just want to speak more into people who are mysterial or even neurodivergent like myself, or quadrites. So it's not, it's like, I don't think that it's necessary. There has been a lot of emphasis in entrepreneurship culture and personal development culture on figuring out what you want and going for it. And a lot of that is based on distortion, masculine distortion of control, and distortion of lack of trust, and distortion of not trusting your destiny, and also not trusting the great mystery, and not being able to enjoy the process. To me, if I were, again, to come back to this idea of allowing yourself the grace of imperfection, allowing yourself to enjoy the journey, it is that idea to me of co-creating with life. It's not like you are creating your leadership, you are building your dream. Yes, you are, but also, can you be open? Can you be receptive to what life throws your way? How can you hold that balance of having a leadership vision, having your dreams and desires, but also having that space for the unknown? Because it is in the unknown, in the mystery, in the liminal space that we find treasures, that we find miracles, that we find guidance. And this cannot be quantified. This cannot be expressed as a goal. This cannot be put on the map or strategized around, because guidance does not come with a 5-step plan. Guidance comes in little bits and pieces. And sometimes maybe it is the proverbial feather from your angels, but guidance to me is more of an impulse, more of a feeling. And I guess everybody understands it differently. I would say, explore how you tick. Explore how guidance shows up for you. Just get to know yourself. Allow yourself to play with your leadership. Allow yourself to dance in your leadership. Allow yourself to be in the cultivation of your frequency. So what you're doing is, you're not building a brick and mortar structure. You are cultivating a frequency field. When you are in that energy of self-cultivation, when you know, okay, these are the frequencies of my soul. This is what I am really about. These are my values. How can I cultivate that every day? Also through my physical appearance, through my behavior, through my priorities, through how I spend my time. How can I cultivate this frequency field around myself that will naturally create a resonance field? I see it as a resonance field. This is my temple. I walk into my temple, I do my sacred work. I just look at, okay, what is the next right action? Where am I called to go next? What is mine to do and what is not? What can I do today that will move the needle forward? How can I be in devotion to cultivating this frequency today? And so then it kind of shape shifts itself. So I think leadership is becoming more and more nonlinear. There is less and less, let's say, for lack of a better word, there's less and less security in it. It's like, you have to learn to dance in the moment. You have to be willing to shift timelines sporadically at will. You need to be ready that, for example, like, you are preparing a program, and then tomorrow you wake up and you realize, no, okay, we're complete with that. New download coming through. Okay, onto that track, because that's how I roll. Like, I stopped trying to figure things out. Stop trying to figure things out. It gives you nothing. Figuring things out only feeds the mind. Instead, how close are you to your heart? How attuned are you to your light in your embodiment? That's what I would say. And one more thing I want to say, it's a bit of a sidetrack, but you mentioned ancestral healing and contracts with the family and so on. I'm getting quite a controversial download that maybe some people need to hear. And that is, it is no longer your job to heal your lineage.
Oh no.
It is, but also it's not. Because I think a lot of people, again, they get stuck and sidetracked in their loyalty vows to their lineage, where they get used as washing machines for their ancestral and collective karma.
Preach. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. you know, like all those ancestors, they are actually souls, okay? They are not incarnated right now in this lineage. Maybe they have reincarnated already 5 times. Can they please take care of their own karma, please?
Okay, I'm so glad we're talking about this. Yes, I have something to add to this. So
Oh, please tell me.
I know I presented at this event on the sacred feminine this fall. It was a wonderful event. And I was pretty astonished by the degree to which women were interested in ancestral healing. Like of all of the things on the menu, I presented about women's relationship with the masculine, kind of on all levels, my jam, right? And they were like, yes, 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 yes. But the orientation was largely to this ancestral healing stuff. And I was like, this is in part enslavement. Like, you know, there was a lot of a collapsed feminine energetic, like feminine who were not leading their lives, women who were disempowered with money, women who had dreams, who did not know how to make them happen, like women who felt like victims, and they were orienting toward the ancestral healing. And I was like, it's your choice. This is your life. What are you doing with your life now? And, you know, incorporating the sovereignty and the architecture of your sovereign blueprint, but really laying themselves at the feet of this like idea that you have to heal your ancestral karma.
Yeah, you're going to be here for a long time. I think you are so right in pointing out the collapsed feminine template. And what I also see in this is attachment to doing free emotional labor.
Yes.
Because women are hooked on that template of doing free emotional labor. So once they're done doing it for their partner and for their friends, for their clients, now, okay, who else can I heal? Oh, let me heal my ancestors. I mean, I'm not dishing ancestral healing work. I think you also are not. So we don't want to throw shade on that. I think there is space and time for it. But are you in your discernment? Are you doing that from an empowered place, or are you using that as an excuse to not move on with your life? Are you using all of that as a healing loop because a lot of people because see, the thing is like, this is 2022, yeah? The entire spiritual thing has been around for a decade, more or less, in the open, okay? It's not like we're not underground. So people have done some work, okay? This is not new. This is like not your basic bitch moon circle. So
there she goes. There she goes.
so people like already sophisticated and all of that. People have done some work. And what I'm wondering is, how many of them are still doing the same work they have been doing 5 years ago and not seeing any results? And why is that?
Right.
Why is that?
Collapsed feminine will just suffer on behalf of everybody for a long fucking time. Like,
yeah. I think a lot of people just don't understand that they deserve better. It has certainly been my journey to start attuning myself to higher realities, which again is back to my earlier point about incarnating more of your light. Because one of the practical ways to do that is to raise your standards and to allow more light, because this light, you don't need to produce it. It already exists. But very often we are just looking the other way because we're so used to struggle, suffering, collapse. We are so used to that we do not realize that better timelines are available, and that it's just our willingness to be more receptive to that, and to put it really simply, willingness to just feel good, willingness to hold more pleasure. A lot of people, especially women, they just don't want to feel good because they're trained to feel shit. So how can you feel better? And sometimes it can be just a little tweak, giving yourself better food, taking better care of your body, saying no to people who demand your time, like saying no to collapse, just freaking feeling better so that you can be more of a match to that light that is already here. And just knowing and getting it through your head that you deserve better. That you deserve better, and you need to allow yourself to have better and to do not the work that takes you deep into the gutter, but rather the work that takes you into the light.
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to own, I've done this 1,000 times for thousands of days. Like, you know, I've suffered unnecessarily and stayed in the rut. And then, so for anyone listening, you know, we're not talking about other people, we're also talking about like learn lessons personally. But I think it's that feeling of I've been working at this for so long. I've been working the spiritual path for so long. I've been you know, following the moon charts and you know, doing the cards and like all of the things you learn to do in the goddess circles and like the let's say like the introductory sacred feminine work, you know, and thank goodness for it. Like our, you know, we're waking up that way. And then there are these energetics of sovereignty that are very much choice based, where you do not have to continue to suffer in the same suffering loops. For a long time, I was getting the ping like, go to the quantum more often, Sarah. What are you doing? You know, and I had a wonderful like rhythm to my days, you know, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a spiritual woman, as an embodied woman. Like I moved energy on a daily basis, but I wasn't creating what I wanted to see next. And that was collapsed. That was because I wasn't allowing myself to say, I can have that. I deserve that. I want that, you know, and going back to collapsed feminine, collapsed masculine, that was, you know, a part of me still playing into the distortion that it had to be hard because this masculine was collapsed. Like, oh my gosh. I hope that the listeners are following. I want to say, like, reach out to us if you have questions, because
and I hope that the listeners also getting the energy of possibility that Sarah and I transmit. Possibility to elevate yourself, possibility to have it easy, which could be perhaps the hardest work you'll ever do in yourself. And a note on spiritual work and results and so on. I think where people often get trapped is also doing it for the gimmicks, doing it for the result. To me, it's
well,
very
that's the manifestation thing. That's like,
to me, it's very different from, let's say, temple culture. That's why it's called Temple of Starfire, my mystery school. It's a temple space. You come there just to hang out, okay? You come there to hang out in the frequency of your soul light. You come to this space to be devotional. And devotion is not about the result. Devotion is about holding the desire and being non-attached. It's always about letting go of the desire. But devotion is not doing it for the result. It's doing it for the process. It's doing it for the sake of who you become as you are moving into the desire. So in a way, from manifestation, we are moving into devotional co-creation.
Yes.
Into soul frequency work, devotional co-creation. It's actually, it's just downloaded. It's new. I'm going to use it in my new program. Devotional co-creation, from manifestation into devotional co-creation.
That's beautiful. These are the words I write every single day. And my, I have a structure and flow like planner, and I use it all the time. I created it and I use it all the time. And that's that loop of devotion, co-creation, receptivity. And then I have that all encompassed in love. Right? Like it's an act of love. Like I am in the devotion. I'm getting the information. We're in the co-creation. That brings the receptivity. It's not manifestation intro.
No, it's more of also to me like joyful self-expression, because creation is so powerful. Women have been divorced from the idea of being in control of their fertility, of their creative fertility.
Exactly. Yes.
It's about how much are you allowing yourself to birth. It's about birthing new realities, birthing creations, even if it's just a little Instagram post, not withholding, not trying to be too strategic about it or perfect, you know. Again, back to the leadership, leading in the now, leading through creating imperfectly, through creating for the sake of creation and for the joy that it brings you. That rewires the entire creative life force and essential sexual life force in the second chakra, and just kind of also unlocks all those seals and hooks and cords where we come into our energy and our ability to birth new worlds, to not just birth life as human life, but to birth new worlds. And in a way, to apply the idea of miraculous conception to, let's say, business, it's like
Yeah.
business is a miraculous conception because you receive a divine download of the light on the soul level. You get an idea for a business or a program, and then you need to base it.
It's the conscious, yeah, the masculine seeds the consciousness, you bring it through. Yeah.
That's true. So, and I think when we allow ourselves to be that pure portal way and vessel, and not resist birthing, not resist launching ideas, not resist just putting things out there, regardless of how it's going to land, who will sign up, who will not sign up, it's all secondary. Because when you kind of, to me, it's almost like, if the technology within us is rusty, the machine is not operating properly, and it's very slow, like you are like trying to get yourself going. But if you just allow that flow to flow through you, it moves you, then you are more, again, open and receptive. The more you give, the more comes back. When you give that light, it comes back, it floats around. With that, we are illuminating the grid, illuminating the world, illuminating our reality. And then a better timeline is automatic. It's like a reality upgrade, quantum leap, voila. Not because you manifested it, but because you became it. It's about who you become in the process.
Yeah. That's really helpful. I feel like I just needed that. You just gave me some business leadership coaching.
I hope it's helpful to many people.
Yeah, I want to say that you've held space for me and my business and my leadership, and you're incredible. So if anyone's resonating, I highly recommend they schedule with you. But I really love what you're saying. And as I am quite literally stepping into a different timeline right now, like this week, what I thought was going to happen didn't happen, and I had to stay in the mystery. And I was very aware that I was like acclimating and normalizing a new frequency, a new way of being. And I'll say, because I think it might be helpful to women who are listening as well, I got pretty kind of discouraged, I would say, by the social media, like by this game we have to play, or that I felt we had to play. Yeah. And as a projector, and all of this, by the way, I want to say I'm questioning everything right now. So even if I say it, I might realize tomorrow that I no longer believe it. And so, as a projector, it's like I have to continue to put myself out there. But then as a businesswoman, I don't want to like do that in order to get sales. And so I've been in a place where I really have not desired to post on social media, such that I've taken action to hire a virtual assistant, and I'll write things whenever I'm getting the download, and then she puts them up and she schedules them. And when I see her scheduling them, I actually get like chills, because I'm like, wonderful, somebody's doing the work, but my system doesn't want to do it. And then sometimes I do, and I spontaneously do it. But I'm still, I would say, undoing the timeline of doing, and I've kind of washed that clean and recreated that, what that looks like a lot of times in entrepreneurship. And I also got confused, and you and I have talked about this, about like when the divine dispensation comes in, thinking like, okay, that's the direction I have to go. Now I'm doing this. And I did that in like May and June, and then the program didn't sell. I don't like using program. The offering didn't sell. And I was like, well, what the heck? I listened. I based my entire like action series around listening to, what was coming through. And the sense that I make of that is like, I think it was coming through for me, and maybe, the timing was a little off. But interestingly, I put up a wait list. The wait list got a lot of traction. And then when I was like, okay, time to talk about it, it's still not happening. It's not happening. So I wonder, what you'd say to that, like when women are like, okay, I'm listening, I'm taking action. I think what I would say to that is like, I don't know that I'm in love with it. I feel like it was almost dutiful, you know, like, okay, I got the divine dispensation, now I have to. And so I'm kind of answering my own question potentially, but it, you know, that heart's desire of like, okay, I have all of these ideas. What's sparking me? Like, what do I want to do? And then being in the creation with like what I want to do. So maybe you could speak to that a little bit more, and business and, you know, profit, like is a part of business.
All
and so
right.
how do we
So good.
how do we make the monies, you know,
How do
or
we
just
make the money?
flowing?
$1 million question, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so first to speak into what you're sharing about getting a divine download, getting guidance, receiving an idea for an offering, putting it out there, and then kind of nothing comes back. Or you make money, but it's not as much as you wanted. Okay, my main point here is that ideas come through and creations get born, not for the reason you think. We think that an idea for an offering comes to us so that we create an offering, launch an offering, sell an offering, fill an offering, and deliver an offering and make money. But this is just one of the multiple reasons why offerings come to us. Sometimes they come for us to cleanse the channel. Through downloading it, something cleanses. Sometimes it comes so that we can download a lesson that we need. Sometimes an offering comes so that we can refine our communication process and our writing process. Sometimes an offering comes and then it flops and doesn't sell so that we can have an entry point to grieve. And then the grieving serves us. So I would say it's very important to not be attached to the destiny of an offering.
I love what you're saying too. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. I'll just interject quickly that, you know, I think it's wise as an entrepreneur to realize that not everything is going to work, right? But what you're saying in the mystery school embodiment is there's a reason why it didn't work. You know, there's something to learn from, there's something to alchemize, there's something to continue to pay attention to and stay in the mystery with it.
Yes, yes. What I'm saying is that it's not linear.
Yeah.
So creating an offering is not really about creating an offering. It is always partly something that we do for the collective and something that we do for ourselves, because entrepreneurship is a spiritual path. And in the process of meeting our edge in business development and in leadership, we also get to download more of our own land. So I would say it's like, see, if I'm putting an offering out there, I cannot think that I'm entitled to sell it just because it was divinely guided. I had to let go of that. Just because I downloaded something beautiful and it's amazing, it does not entitle me. Just because it's from guidance, or because it's channeled, or because it's whatever, I'm so sincere and good and amazing. Just because that is the case, it does not mean that it's meant to be received. And to me, I always download everything from the highest prayer of, if I'm putting this offering out there, please give me the highest aligned amount of participants. May this offering reach the ones who need it, and show me how to offer it in a way that can reach those people. And I'm not attached to how many people show up. 15 people, 5 people. It's like, am I enjoying the process anyway? Would I be doing that? I always think to myself, would I be creating this program or delivering this offering, even if I would be delivering it to my one friend who I would invite so that I have somebody to talk to? Would I be doing that if I would be delivering it to my cat? Would I be developing this offering just for the joy of producing this content and just for the joy of talking about something that I'm passionate about? And if the answer is yes, I have never actually experienced it not selling. Again, numbers can vary. Sometimes it's more people, sometimes it's less people. But to me, it's like, in a way, I'm doing it for myself. I think it's a good way to do it is to become a bit more selfish. Are you excited about this offering? Would you sign up for this? Would you want to do it if you had all the time in the world? If money was not an object, because my philosophy is that business and money are actually completely separate tracks, and they all get mingled and intertwined. I think the way we receive money, we receive it from source. A business is just one of the vehicles. You can receive money through so many sources and through so many portal ways. Business can be the biggest for it. But let's say if money was no issue, would you be delivering this offering now? Because again, like to me, strategy and trying to figure things out and sequence and the launching and so it's just messing with my head.
It's
I just can't.
Yeah, right. It's like pushing pieces around in the 3D, where that makes me sad because I'm a mystic.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't want to do that.
And I think we need to find balance, you know. If we lean too far in the mystery, then we might never be able to have a viable business. But we push too much into the brick and mortar strategy kind of pushing pieces, then we abandon the mystery. It's a dance. And both sides are needed. Both sides are needed. There is time to be business savvy, and then there is time to be a mystic and to be a priestess of the temple who is delivering her offerings. But to me, it's also about, again, frequency cultivation and knowing that to me, offerings are just outlets for people to interface with my frequency. So when you're creating an offering, it is simply a possibility for people to step into your resonance field and play with you.
Yeah.
It's a possibility for people to come and be in the energy of your light.
So it's my responsibility to cultivate that light.
Yeah, exactly.
As the leader.
I think it's your own responsibility to cultivate that light and then communicate that light, you know, switch it on and keep it on through various vehicles that we have as modern humans, e.g. social media. And it's like, let this light shine and then have outlets for people to come and consume it. Different offerings. They can have you one-on-one. If they want more access, they can be in a group program. They can have a workshop or pre-recorded something. You know, for me, those are just vehicles. And I'm just starting to be more playful with this and to allow myself to create offerings that are fun for me. You know, that's what I'm doing. Like, what would I do for myself and my friends, for the kind of humans that I want to have, that represent my light, that are undiluted dispensation of what I'm here to give. And then I am in a devoted prayer of creating it. Because I think if we lean too far into, okay, what does the market need? What do people need from me? What are the problems? Blah, blah, blah. That can take us away from ourselves when we are creating for the sake of people. I definitely made that mistake in the past because I was hooked on the energy of contribution. I was like so about making a difference, making an impact, being helpful, that it was tainted with my energy of a parentified child who wanted to save everybody and who just wanted to be useful. I was like so stuck on this idea, like, I want to be useful. What can I offer that I'm useful? And it took me away from my energy of joyful creation. It's like, yeah, it's great to be useful. It's amazing to deliver results and solve problems for clients. That's all good and cool. But are you leaving yourself behind? Are you also enjoying the process? Do your offerings, are they imbued in the energy of people pleasing and trying to fill in different market gaps to ensure that you are useful and needed and wanted by people? Or is that actually also representative of your soul frequency and your light? Because unless it's filled with your light, you will have no relationship with an offering. Yes, again, it's possible to sell it through the wounded, distorted paradigm and all those, you know, the drill. But does it really feed your soul? You know, that could be an artificial timeline of an inauthentic business that eventually will leave you feeling soul hungry, still soul hungry. But yeah, it's a very nuanced, you know, delicate subject. I think everybody's equation here is different, but my core message in this would be, don't leave your soul behind. Be in it for the right reason.
Absolutely.
And be in it for the right reason. Know why you're doing it. Would you be doing it also just for the sake of it if nothing ever came back? That to me is devotional business and devotional leadership.
I love that. There's this transmission coming through right now called Breathe to Receive. And it's so beautiful as a little transmission. And I'm recording these meditations, and I invited people to come do it live with me. And I was like, to my virtual assistants who thank God do so many of the moving parts on the internet, I was like, I don't want to sell this for very long. I'm tired of like selling. So we're just going to put this up for 2 weeks and just see what happens. Well, as of us recording this, one person has signed up. I love talking to this woman about receptivity. It might just be she and I'm going to make these meditations, but I am living this transmission. And I have been for some time, and it's been there, right? It was like breathe to receive, breathe to receive. And I had it like on a little whiteboard, and I was like, I'll get to those meditations. And then I was like, I want to do this live. I want to interact with people with it. And since I said that, the initiations in my own life, out, not initiations, but like the alchemy in my own life around the magic of like what wants to transpire, I'm living it. And then I'm recording the meditations while I'm living it. And it's very alive, and I'm laughing at these business, these lessons that you're describing. I'm just giving an example where it's like, if one person comes, would I do it? And I'm laughing and I'm like, yes. Do I want to do it? I am doing it. I'm living it right now. I'm living the transmission. So yes.
It's so new. And you know what I hear in this is like, this is you building a legacy. This isn't you just delivering in a once-off program. This is you building a legacy, creating a beautiful offering that can stay in your library of offerings forever.
Yeah, because that's what it will be.
Many of our offerings are quantum in nature, meaning it's not just a group program with calls every Tuesday, okay? It's something that is beyond space and time. And I'm coming to see how the space is changing. It's like, I always get stuck on setting call times, and people join and then they think, oh no, I can't make Thursday nights. And I'm like, but it doesn't matter. I can move the calls, don't join offering because of when it is or about how much you're getting. You are not paying me for my time. It's like, it's the energy is the frequency exchange. It's the exchange of the transformation. And I think we need to just be more open to how it is non-linear and magical. All of it, really, all of it. It's not, yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I know it. I feel it. I'm so excited that you are opening up this modern mystery school, and you've been embodying these teachings, but bringing the Temple of Starfire modern mystery school forward. I'm really excited to see where you go with that. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us as we begin to wrap up here today about the mystery school or anything else?
Yeah, so Temple of Starfire is dedicated to cosmic humans who want to own their magic, who want to really unlock their soul essence frequency and bring that into embodiment, into their life, into their business, into their leadership. And I'm also starting a completely new Instagram account. I've had like a long and painful story with Instagram. It's like, I love Instagram, but it feels like it doesn't love me back. So I'm like, let me reset everything to zero. It's a completely new Instagram account, Temple of Starfire, which I'm starting from scratch. I'm going to play with the algorithm, and I'm going to allow my creativity to be completely unfiltered there, meaning I have so much to say. I could be posting 5 times a day. So I have the opposite problem of most people. Like I've been holding myself back from posting as much as I want because I think, okay, this is like, I'm taking up too much space. So to hell with all that. So Temple of Starfire is going to be like a very interactive space where I invite people to hang out with me on Instagram, to have conversations with me, to just, have this dialogue about being a magical human, about bridging the mundane and the mysterious, about frequency and soul essence embodiment. And so there will be probably by the time this episode goes live, templeofstarfire.com is available, and there are some workshops and courses that are self-study that anybody can purchase, because again, it's beyond space and time. And there is one-on-one work and 3 months mastermind / mystery school, which is about frequency work and elevating yourself into higher timelines. So this is what's on the cards. And who knows what else, I'm thinking about finally, when the world opens up, having live events in southern France. So that's my dream. This is what I'm going into. But for now, I'm just in this devotional space and feeling so alive, so alive. And so I'm so enjoying the Temple of Starfire process and cultivating this frequency and bringing those offerings that I don't even care how many followers I have anymore. I stopped caring. I just want to share this light, to make this transmission available. And whoever wants to join me, most welcome.
I'll join you.
Please.
Oh, thank you for doing what you're doing and being who you're being. And thank you so much for being here today with this transmission. There's a lot here, and there's a lot of available alchemy for people to listen and re-listen. So yeah, I'm just looking at your face right now, and I'm thinking about 5 months ago,
Yeah.
and you allowing yourself
Very
to
different life.
right,
Yeah.
you allowing yourself to go so deep into everything that needed to be felt, and then there's this resurrection and this rising and this offering. And so thank you for coming and speaking to that process. And yeah, such an honor to know you.
Likewise, the honor is all mine. Thank you for having me, and may this conversation serve many people. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.